So our test yesterday yielded very poor results.
Do it with one person.
Yeah.
You'll be doing it with a lot of cussing.
Lots of cussing. This is kind of a bittersweet moment as I finish wrapping things up here in the shop. Hi folks, welcome back to the shop. If you're new to our channel, I'm Dana, Art's Behind the Camera. And we have a project today on the 2010 Subaru Forester. Comes by way of Santa Claus. A very unexpected and welcome Christmas present this year was fog lights. As you can see, this is a base model, and most of the base models don't come standard with fog lights. What we'll need to do is pull off the front bumper again and undo these plastic housing clips so that we can mount in our OEM fog lights. Once we have all the wiring done and these installed, it's going to be actually another upgrade because we're not just doing the regular fog light. We're actually going to go ahead and upgrade these to LEDs in order to match the rest of the lights. We're going to go ahead and get started, but if you're unfamiliar with how to take off this front bumper cover, we're going to put a link to one of our previous videos where we do a how-to on removing this bumper cover, but we're just going to get right down to it. Once you have the bumper off and you have it inverted, you'll be able to remove these plastic housing covers just by undoing one tab. So as soon as you pull it away, it lifts right out. These things are like $10 a piece. Ask me how I know. Now with those out, we're ready to install the fog lights. In addition to making sure that you're buying nuts and washers to go on the back of the new fog lights, which don't come with that hardware, you also want to make sure that you are purchasing the bezels. So the plastic covers that come on the base model pop off relatively easily, but they don't allow for the full trim and ceiling flush look of the OEM fog light bezels. This will seal up around the fog light in the bumper cover and make sure that you don't have any dirt or grime or air gaps getting in. Unfortunately, the OEM fog light bezel comes in this beautiful chrome plastic, much like the OEM grill cover, and I just don't like the look of this. We're gonna actually do a nice coat of rattle can black on this to match what we've already done with my grill.
A few moments later.
All right, so just a quick trip outside with some rattle cans, and now we have black instead of chrome bezels. Installation of these fog lights are really, really easy. There's a tab on the top of the fog light here that's gonna come out the front hole here. 2 screws come out the top. Don't get your gloves stuck though. And just push it in firmly. Once you have that in place, you can put your washers and nuts just pretty loose, just to hold it barely. while we get the bezel in place. Now for the bezel. On the inside, you'll see some reference letters for Made in Japan, which are going to cue you in that that's the top. So with the alignment, you're going to have this tab coming out of this inside top center hole. And that's in. Super easy. And once you have both fog lights and the bezels in their locations, and the housing on the bumper cover, it's ready to plug them in as you reinstall the bumper cover. So for this, we need 2 people. Preferred 2 people. You don't need 2 people.
Yeah, you could do it with 1 person.
Yeah.
You'll be doing it with a lot of cussing.
Lots of cussing. You know what I should have looked at?
What's that?
Which way this plug goes on.
It only goes one way.
It only goes one way. Alright, get the front. Yeah, perfect. Alright, are we ready for some clippies?
Yep, clips.
That looks really good.
Does it?
Yeah. Now that we have our fog lights installed and the bumper covers back in its place, everything's wired up, there's one thing that's missing, and that's the switch to turn them on. So within the Subarus, that fog light control switch happens on the stalk. And because my base model did not come with fog light standard, I of course don't have this switch. The solution is simply to swap out the entire switch with a Subaru stalk that does have the fog light control switch. So we're gonna put the actual Subaru part number in the description for this video. We got ours off eBay, so used parts will work just fine. You can buy an actual Subaru OEM one from the dealer. Your mileage may vary. All right, so in order to get this original stock off, in order to get the original stalk off, you've got to remove this plastic housing from the steering column. The first step is there is a screw on the underside, directly dead center. Okay, once you undo that screw, just give it a little pry and it comes right off. So to release the top, there's going to be more screws. There's one screw that's easy to locate, close to the door side, towards the back. You want to lower the tilt handle so that you have easier access to that screw. And once you do, you'll need 2 arms, one to hold the steering column and the other to break that screw off. Well, I mean, not break it, but, you know, get it loose. Once you have that back one off, there's another one here in the front that you'll have to remove as well. Continuing down our path to identifying, finding, and removing screws for this top plastic bracket, there is one exactly mirror on the inside part of the vehicle that matches the one that we found on the front. So I'm going to go ahead and undo this screw, and hopefully it's the last one. Probably not with my luck. Maybe I I get lucky. Maybe it is the last one. You don't actually have to remove the top cover in order to swap out the switch, which is good because this cover does not want to come out of its home. It's perfectly happy where it is. So we're going to start just by removing the top and bottom screws, holding the original switch in. I'm having a little bit of difficulty sliding out the switch, so I'm going to unplug it first. And that's that. So installation is going to be the exact opposite of everything we just did. We'll slide in the new one, plug it in. Said we'll slide in the new one. There we go. So apparently the new switch just required some extra force to get it in there. I'm a little paranoid of breaking things, but don't be afraid to push a little hard on it.
It's a little tight.
It is a little tight. So once you have it in there, I'm going to go ahead and plug it in and test it before we redo all of this plastic. So our test yesterday yielded very poor results.
No, it's not true. That's impossible.
While the base Forester comes pre-wired and with all the fuses for fog lights, it's missing one key element, and that's the relay. No! So the relay for the fog lights goes up underneath the dashboard. And it's not something that's easily labeled. So we had to do a little bit of research and legwork to find this particular part. We'll put the part number in the description. You can either buy an alternative knockoff, or you can do what we did and buy Subaru OEM. There is Subaru parts online available via Amazon. We'll post that link in our description as well. And now I get to show you exactly where this goes so we can test out our new fog lights. So to remove this bottom panel, what we're going to do is we're going to pop off this plastic cover. There we go. And that comes right out with the little plastic clips. Now, to remove this bottom panel, we have just 2 screws, and the rest are plastic clips. Now once that comes free, you can either set it on its side or you can unclip all of these buttons.
All right, the relay block is to the right of the fuse panel. You've got your 3 in the left-hand column. The fog light relay is right where Dana's finger is, and is an open port for you to plug right into.
That's it.
Just like that.
So just remember to reconnect the battery when you're doing your test. And you don't have to turn the car on. All the car has to do is be on accessory mode. And any time that the fog lights will turn on in this model Subaru, you have to have the headlights fully on first, and then the fog lights will engage. The fog lights automatically turn off when you have the high beams on, and they can only turn on if the low beam headlights are also on.
Bulbs are in, looking really good.
with our testing complete, I'm gonna go ahead and button everything up in here and move on to the next project. Thanks for watching this video. We hope that it helps you install fog lights on your base model Forester. This is kind of a bittersweet moment as I finish wrapping things up here in the shop. This is likely our last video on this 2010 Subaru Forester. So I'm sad, but at the same time I'm really happy because that means we get to move on to new projects. So stay safe and we'll catch you next time.